Born on the frigid planet of Mirial, Luminara Unduli was selected at a young age to become a Jedi, avoiding a life of anguish and misery on her home planet, which was oppressed by the Trade Federation. As a side note, in Legends we know she was born in 58 BBY. As per Mirialan tradition, Luminara is taken under the tutelage of a fellow member of the Mirialan species within the Jedi Order, where she would study the ways of the Force and master her lightsaber skills under Form 3 in Sarisu. Upon constructing her green lightsaber, Unduli would choose the path of a Jedi Guardian, and after becoming a Knight of the Republic, she would dedicate herself to physical discipline. Her pattern tattoos are actually a symbol of commitment common amongst her people. Furthermore, as a Jedi diplomat, she would frequently act as an advisor to many senators within the Galactic Senate. Sometime around the events of A Phantom Menace, Unduli would take on fellow Mirialan Jedi, Barriss Offee, as her padawan, and they would become very close to one another. According to Legends material, Offee was born in 40 BBY, the year after Anakin Skywalker's birth. At the age of 16, 2 years before the start of the Clone Wars, Barriss would construct her first lightsaber and would be strictly taught how to wield it by Luminara, mostly using her master's form of Sarisu at the time. At some point during her training, Tutso Mara would help Barriss with controlling her lightsaber, as we find out by Barriss herself during the Clone Wars, when she talks about losing her during the Jedi Temple bombing, which we'll discuss in full later on. Nevertheless, a little before the Clone Wars, Barriss would be given a mission by her master to retrieve an ancient book. However, despite fighting her way through traps and a creature, she would come to realize that the book was made of sand and fell apart almost instantly upon her grabbing it. Master Unduli would insist that the book wasn't what mattered and that it was the adventure Barriss went on that would help give experience to the Padawan. At the start of Attack of the Clones, we witness a meeting between the Jedi and Chancellor Palpatine, with Barriss and Luminara present, debating whether or not Palpatine should be granted emergency powers and discussing the secessionist movement, which is essentially the separatist crisis where certain senators and etc. broke away from the Republic due to much disagreement, forming the Separatist Alliance under Count Dooku. This is what caused major political turmoil within the Galactic Senate, leading to the events of the Clone Wars. On this topic, soon the dreaded Clone War would commence, and it would start at the first Battle of Geonosis, where both Offee and Unduli would join Master Mace Windu, among other Jedi, to rescue Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Senator Padme Amidala from the clutches of the Separatists. After the battle had occurred, Barriss would have trouble sleeping and would decide to head to the Jedi Temple Clinic and aid those injured during said battle. Jedi Master Depa Billaba would note that due to Offee's assistance, many were able to make a fast recovery. While on this subject, Barriss was fairly accomplished in her oncoming ability to force heal. Additionally, due to her ability, Barriss would stay at the temple to help more injured Jedi as opposed to following her master into battle. Luminara would be granted the rank of general at this point, being given control over the 9th Assault Corps and 41st Elite Corps, working alongside Clone Commander Gree. However, 4 months into the Clone Wars, Luminara would take her Padawan to Ilum to use her blue kyber crystal in order to construct her final lightsaber. During this event, the two Jedi would be ambushed by Separatist droids who were ordered to ravage the temple on Ilum. On this occasion, both Luminara and Barriss would be rescued by Grandmaster Yoda himself. A few months after the destruction of the Malevolence, Luminara would engage in a duel with General Grievous on the planet Nadium. It is sometime after this duel where Luminara also engages in a duel with Sith assassin Asajj Ventress with the help of Ahsoka Tano aboard the Venator-class Star Destroyer Tranquility. She barely manages to fend off Ventress and even fails to stop her from leaving with the Republic captive Viceroy Newt Gunray of the Trade Federation. Unduli would once again face Ventress on Alzok 3, where she manages to defeat Ventress with the help of Aayla Secura. Shortly thereafter, in about 21 BBY, both Luminara Unduli and Barriss Offee would assist in the second Battle of Geonosis, where they would plan a mission to destroy a weapons factory alongside Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano. As Anakin and Luminara lead a frontal assault, both Padawans, Barriss and Ahsoka, would infiltrate the factory using the catacombs below, the catacombs in which Barriss had studied extensively. The Padawans would use the new secret super tank of the Separatists to destroy the factory, putting their lives on the line for the factory's destruction. They would, however, survive this event, and Luminara would begin a search for Poggle the Lesser, who had just retreated into an ancient Geonosian temple leading far underground. Unduli would be captured by the undead Geonosian soldiers and held captive in front of the Queen, though she would later be rescued by Anakin and Obi-Wan. In the meantime, and as the two are recovering from their mission on Geonosis, Barriss and Ahsoka would be entrusted with the task of delivering supplies to Mace Windu's forces on Dantooine aboard the medical frigate TB-73. However, to their misfortune, the pack of clone troopers aboard the vessel had been infected by Geonosian brainworms while on the planet, Offee would be separated from Ahsoka and would become infected by the clones, attempting to also infect Ahsoka, but Ahsoka would eventually learn that freezing temperatures are the weakness of the aforementioned parasites, preventing Barriss's demise as well as her own. After becoming a Jedi Knight, being rescued on Felucia by Aayla Secura and Commander Bly, and helping Ahsoka in her starfighter above the planet during the Battle of Umbara, Barriss Offee would realize the hypocrisy of the Jedi and begin to disagree with their methods. This became more common amongst Jedi the longer the war went on, but regardless, Barriss in particular would send a message to the Jedi by using nanodroids to bomb the Jedi Temple Hangar Bay in 19 BBY. Using her wits, Offee would shift the blame to Ahsoka Tano, making it look like she committed everything tied to the crime. In the midst of this process, she would also disguise herself as Asajj Ventress, using Ventress's lightsabers, and defeat a confused Ahsoka in a duel in the Coruscant underworld. However, Anakin would eventually ascertain that Barriss was the one behind the temple bombing, and he would defeat her in a duel, bringing her to Ahsoka's trial to admit to the atrocity she committed in the wake of her betrayal. Luminara would of course catch wind of this and become absolutely shattered at the fact that her padawan turned to the dark side, betraying the Jedi Order and everything she knew. At this point in canon, we only know that Barriss Offee was imprisoned. It is not certain if she was executed before or after Order 66, or even if she survived. Anyhow, Luminara would take solace in her mission alongside Yoda on Kashyyyk. During this event, Unduli would fight alongside her clone battalion and Wookiee warriors against the Separatist Alliance. However, during the battle, Sidious would execute Order 66, causing the clones to turn on the Jedi, though Luminara would evade being killed by her clones, unlike many of the other Jedi across the galaxy. Despite surviving the betrayal of the clones, she would be taken into custody by the Empire and kept at the Spire, a prison located on Stygian Prime. This is actually the same prison Maul was kept at during the events of the Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir comic series, which I have a video covering if you're interested. Nonetheless, Master Unduli would be executed in front of the Grand Inquisitor, and her corpse, along with the rumor of her surviving the Clone Wars, would be used to lure surviving Jedi to her false rescue. Ultimately, much like many of the Jedi, Luminara Unduli and her Padawan Barriss Offee were sucked into the lies and deceit of Darth Sidious's grand plan and forced to fight a war that caused many of the Jedi to lose trust in their order in the Republic, and or become eradicated once the plan came into full effect. I think one of the many tragedies that occurred as a result of the Clone Wars and Sidious's plan was the fact that Luminara and Barriss's close friendship became fractured after Barriss's view on the Jedi shifted as a result of the aforementioned war. Despite Luminara remaining loyal to the Jedi Order, I believe she would have listened to what her Padawan had to say, especially in retrospect during her time imprisoned by the Empire, realizing that what her Padawan among many others said eventually came to fruition, causing the downfall of the flawed Jedi Order and Republic. Anyhow, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a great day. See ya.